Welcome, daring seekers, to another episode that ventures into the shadowy corners of reality and imagination. Tonight, we bring you three tales that challenge the boundaries of the known and the mysterious. Picture yourself wandering through an ancient German castle where whispers echo in the dark, or confronting an unseen force in a house notorious for its malevolent presence, or walking the halls of an English estate haunted by a lady in brown. Two of these stories are woven from the threads of our deepest fears, designed to unsettle and intrigue. But one, just one, is a genuine mystery that has both captivated and confounded experts for years. Are you ready to navigate this labyrinth of the paranormal to uncover the single tale that's rooted in truth? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's set sail on this voyage through the eerie and the extraordinary. Now, let's begin. Story 1, The Unseen Waltz. In the heart of Germany, nestled among rolling hills and dense forests, stood the imposing structure of Schattenburg Castle. Built in the 1500s, the castle had a reputation that extended far beyond its stone walls and towering spires. It was said to be haunted, a place where the veil between the living and the dead was thin. Enter Emily, a young woman with a passion for the paranormal. Armed with an array of ghost-hunting equipment and a deep sense of curiosity, she arrived at Schattenburg Castle on a chilly autumn evening. The castle, now a museum, was open to the public, but Emily had secured special permission to explore it after hours. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the cobblestone courtyard, Emily felt a shiver run down her spine. She took a deep breath, steadying herself before she entered the castle. Her footsteps echoed through the empty halls as she made her way to the infamous Whispering Chamber, a room where visitors claimed to hear disembodied voices. Emily set up her equipment, an EMF meter to detect electromagnetic fields, a digital voice recorder, and a night vision camera. She sat in the center of the room, her heart pounding in anticipation. For a long moment there was silence. Then the EMF meter flickered to life, its needle jumping erratically. Emily held her breath, her eyes widening as she heard a faint whisper. She quickly grabbed her voice recorder and played back the audio. Clear as day, she heard a voice say, "Hilfe," the German word for help. Energized by this discovery, Emily decided to venture deeper into the castle. She descended a narrow staircase that led to the dungeons. The air grew colder and her EMF meter spiked again. As she walked through the dank, dimly lit corridor, she felt a sudden, forceful gust of wind. Startled, she turned around to see a shadowy figure standing at the end of the hallway. It was there for just a moment before it vanished, leaving Emily both terrified and thrilled. Her final stop was the castle's grand ballroom, a place rumored to be frequented by a ghostly couple seen dancing in the moonlight. Emily set up her camera and motion detectors, then waited. Hours passed, and just when she was about to give up, her equipment started picking up the faint sounds of music, though she couldn't hear it with her own ears. Intrigued, she noticed one of the motion detectors suddenly flashed to life. Quickly, Emily aimed her camera at the area and started taking a series of pictures. It wasn't until later, when she was reviewing her evidence, that she saw it. One of the photos showed a faint shadow that resembled a couple dancing. The image was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it was there. Overwhelmed with emotion, Emily felt tears fill her eyes. She had found the proof she was looking for. The story of Emily's night at Schattenburg Castle spread like wildfire. Skeptics scrutinized her evidence, but even they had to admit that her recordings were compelling. While some continued to doubt, many were convinced that Emily had indeed made contact with the other side. And so the legend of Schattenburg Castle grew, its mysteries deepening with each retelling. But for Emily, the experience was transformative, a haunting encounter that she would carry with her for the rest of her life. It was a night that blurred the lines between the living and the dead, between skepticism and belief, and it left her forever changed. Story 2, The Rosewood Demon. The Rosewood House, perched on a hill overlooking the town, had always been the subject of hushed conversations and fearful glances. Its dark history was well known, especially the tale of its last owner, Mr. Whitman, who was said to have been thrown off the balcony by an unseen force, Locals whispered of a malevolent demon that resided within, guarding its territory with ferocity. Enter Alex and Jake, two ambitious paranormal investigators, eager to uncover the truth behind the legends. They had tackled haunted asylums, abandoned hospitals, and ghost-ridden graveyards, but the Rosewood House was different. There was an air of malevolence that even they couldn't deny. The night began relatively quietly. Their equipment picked up the usual anomalies, orbs darting in and out of rooms, shadows that seemed to move of their own accord, and the occasional spike on the EMF reader, but nothing that could be considered definitive proof. Growing frustrated, Alex decided to up the ante. "If there's something here, show yourself," he shouted, his voice echoing through the empty halls. Jake shot him a warning glance, but Alex was undeterred. "Come on, you threw Whitman off the balcony, didn't you? Why don't you try that with me?" With a determined stride, Alex made his way to the infamous balcony. The night was still, the only sound being the distant hoot of an owl. Standing at the edge, he continued his taunts. "Here I am, do your worst." Suddenly, a cold gust of wind enveloped him. Alex's confident demeanor faltered as he felt an unseen force pushing against him, edging him closer to the balcony's ledge. Panic set in as he felt his feet leave the ground, as if he was being lifted by an invisible hand. Jake, realizing the danger, rushed forward, grabbing Alex and pulling him back just in time. Breathing heavily, Alex stumbled back into the house, his face pale. "Did you feel that?" he gasped. "It was like something wanted to throw me off." Jake, ever the skeptic, was about to dismiss it as a trick of the mind when he noticed something. "Alex, you're back," he whispered, pointing to the back of Alex's shirt, which was slowly staining red. Pulling up his shirt, they found 3 deep, bleeding scratches running down his back. The cuts were fresh, and the pattern was unmistakably that of a hand with long, claw-like fingers. The duo quickly packed up their equipment and left the Rosewood House, the weight of what they had experienced pressing down on them. They had sought proof of the paranormal, and they had found it, but at a cost. Their story quickly spread on social media, and many who saw it were shocked. And while many dismissed their tale as a hoax or an accident, those who had felt the chilling presence in the house knew the truth. The demon of the Rosewood House was real, and they were almost its next victim. Story 3: The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Imagine, if you will, the grandeur of Raynham Hall in Norfolk, England. A sprawling estate that has stood for centuries, its walls have seen more history than most could fathom. It's the kind of place where the air feels heavy, not just with humidity, but with the weight of untold stories. And among these stories, one stands out, a tale that has transcended time, crossing from whispered legend into the realm of the undeniable. This is the story of the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Lady Dorothy Walpole was no ordinary woman. Born into a family of influence, she was the sister of Robert Walpole, often considered the first Prime Minister of Great Britain. Married to Charles Townshend, a man known for his volatile temper, her life was a tapestry of highs and lows. Rumors swirled that Charles had made her life a living hell, locking her in her rooms when his temper flared. Lady Dorothy died under mysterious circumstances at the young age of 40. Officially, it was smallpox, but whispers suggested something far more sinister. Now let's fast forward to the early 20th century. The year is 1936, and photographers from Country Life magazine are at Raynham Hall to capture its architectural splendor. But what they capture instead freezes the blood in their veins. As they set up their camera to photograph the grand staircase, a sudden chill fills the air. The temperature drops, and the men feel as if they're being watched. They look up and see her, a woman in a brown brocade dress descending the stairs with an air of melancholy. They snap a photo, and what develops is nothing short of astonishing. A haunting image of the Brown Lady, her face obscured in a ghostly mist, forever immortalized on film. The photograph rockets around the world, making headlines and turning skeptics into believers. But this isn't the first time the Brown Lady has made her presence known. Over the years, numerous guests at Raynham Hall have reported seeing her. She's been spotted in the halls, her eyes hollow sockets of light, and her mouth twisted into a sorrowful grimace. Some have even claimed to see her in the very room where she was said to have been imprisoned by her husband. But what makes this tale even more chilling is the consistency of the accounts. Whether it's a visiting dignitary in the 1800s or a plumber in the 2000s, the descriptions are eerily similar. A woman in a brown dress, her face either shrouded in darkness or glowing with an ethereal light, always appearing in the same areas of the estate. And then there's the smell. Many have reported a sudden overpowering scent of musty air, as if someone had just walked past them in a centuries-old gown. So who is the Brown Lady? Is she Lady Dorothy Walpole, forever trapped in the home that became her prison? Or is she something else, a manifestation of the collective fears and stories that have soaked into the very walls of Raynham Hall? We may never know for sure, but one thing is certain. The Brown Lady is one of the most compelling pieces of evidence in the realm of the supernatural, a mystery that continues to both fascinate and terrify. For those who walk the halls of Raynham Hall, whether as a resident or a daring visitor, the air is thick with more than just history. It's thick with the presence of the Brown Lady, a spectral figure who serves as a haunting reminder that some stories refuse to be forgotten, that some spirits refuse to rest, and that some mysteries refuse to be solved. And so, the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall remains an enigma, a spectral figure caught between two worlds, forever wandering the halls of an estate as grand and mysterious as her own tale. Thank you for journeying with us through this labyrinth of mysteries and inexplicable phenomena. The time has come to reveal which of these tales is not just a figment of imagination, but a true puzzle that defies explanation. Was it the haunting whispers and spectral dancers of Germany's Schattenburg Castle, the malevolent force that left its mark at the infamous Rosewood House, or the enduring mystery of the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, captured in one of the most famous ghost photographs ever taken? The tale that transcends the realm of fiction and enters the annals of true paranormal phenomena is The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. While the photograph taken in 1936 by Country Life magazine photographers is the most famous evidence, sightings of the Brown Lady date back much further. She has been reportedly seen by various members of the British aristocracy and guests at the hall over the years, adding credibility to the claims of her existence. One of the earliest recorded sightings was by King George IV in the early 19th century, who claimed to have seen her standing beside his bed during a stay at Raynham Hall. Another notable sighting was by Colonel Loftus, who was visiting the hall in the 1830s. He claimed to have seen the Brown Lady 2 nights in a row, and his detailed description of her empty eye sockets and antiquated brown dress closely matched other accounts. Furthermore, the Brown Lady is often associated with a peculiar scent, described as musty or damp, which many witnesses claim to have smelled during their encounters with her. This olfactory detail adds another sensory layer to the haunting, making it a multi-dimensional experience that goes beyond mere visual sightings. The Brown Lady is believed to be Lady Dorothy Walpole, who was married to Charles Townshend, a man known for his violent temper. Rumors suggest that after discovering Lady Dorothy's infidelity, Townshend locked her in her rooms at Raynham Hall, where she remained until her death. Official records state she died of smallpox, but there are whispers that her death might have been a result of something more sinister, possibly even murder. This tragic backstory adds a layer of depth to the haunting, suggesting a reason for her restless spirit. So while the photograph remains the most compelling piece of evidence, the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall is a haunting steeped in history, multiple eyewitness accounts, and additional sensory experiences that make it one of the most credible and chilling ghost stories in the annals of the paranormal. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the unknown. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that like button and share it with fellow mystery seekers. And remember, in every trio of tales at 2 tricks, 1 treat. 2 will deceive, but 1 always speaks the truth. Until next time, keep questioning, keep wondering, and always stay curious.